Hello and welcome to my video talking about ideas I have for a possible Chao Garden world in a future Sonic game. In this project I will talk about many things I would like to add, remove, or adjust to the world of Chao. Like many people, I grew up spending hours upon hours playing the Chao Garden on Sonic Adventure 2 as a kid, and over the years I've developed ideas of what should be in the next one. I have a whole note page on my phone that has a lot of my thoughts on it spread out, but I'm going to give my ideas in an organized manner in this video. We will cover several different sections of the Chao world, as well as subtopics in those sections for each one. To give you a better idea, here's the layout I'm using. You can pause the video to take a good look at what we'll be covering today. Hopefully you enjoy this video. Now let's get started. Okay, so we will begin with talking about the stats of Chao. I want to first discuss how animals and chaos drives will be used. You know how in the first two Sonic adventures, the animals and drives can only be used once? Well, that is, if you didn't know about the unlimited use glitch. Well, for this game, the animals and drives will give a much higher stat boost so that it doesn't take as long to get to level 99 for a stat. As usual, animals give the Chao animal parts, while the drives don't. However, the animals give higher stat boosts than the Chao drives in general. Here's the list of animals that boost each specific stat I have. Like before, they will likely boost or reduce other stats, but are mainly used for the increase of a specific stat, or influence of evolution line of the Chao. For the swim stat the animals are a shark, penguin, dolphin, otter, goldfish and a duck. For flying there's a parrot, seagull, peacock, eagle, raven, and ostrich. For running there's cheetah, rabbit, leopard, gazelle, kangaroo, and horse. For power there's gorilla, bear, lion, rhino, hippo, and an elephant. For a new stat I added that we'll get into later, intelligence, there is a dog, cat, monkey, mouse, chimpanzee, and octopus. The miscellaneous animals, which increase all stats, are a beaver, lamb, skunk, squirrel, raccoon, and camel. The odd animals, which are used for removing animal parts, are monster fish, bat, and skeleton dog. And finally the rare animals, which raise all stats significantly, are the dragon, unicorn, and phoenix. Again, each of these animals vary in the way they raise stats, but they all have categories, just like in the previous games. Now as for chaos drives, these are going to be the same as before. They only increase a single stat, and do not affect other stats, nor do they give out any animal parts. Using these things is the primary way to increase your chaos stats, but there are some more ways to increase Chao stats, that we will discuss in a bit.
For the skills and grades for Chao, I've decided to keep everything mainly the same, but I'm adding one stat that was mentioned before, intelligence. The intelligence stat will allow Chao to do better in school, succeed in certain obstacles and racing, and for other things that we will talk about later. The two hidden stats for a Chao will be reaction and chance. Reaction and chance are similar to an IV in Pokemon. Once a Chao is born, it is a randomized stat in reaction and chance that cannot be changed. I adjusted the stat grades for each letter as well. A Chao will have an E, D, C, B, A, or S in each stat, however, there will be a plus or minus for each stat. For instance, a Chao can have an E-, regular E, or an E+ in a stat. In Sonic Adventure 2, the highest stat number a Chao can have was 3,266. In this Chao Garden, the highest stat is 4,673. Don't ask me why I chose that number, I just did. I wanted to add the plus and minus to each stat grade to add some more variation because why not? Each grade has a range the Chao stat can be when it reaches level 99 of a stat. Making an all-S Chao does take longer, but the raising stats in general is faster than it was before. When you evolve a Chao, it will increase its grade level as it did in the previous games. However, it will only increase it by the plus-minus. For example, if a Chao has a B- grade in flying, then evolves into a flying type, that grade will turn into a regular B. Chao stats can allow Chao to do different behaviors you will see in the Chao garden. For instance, a stat grade number of 500 in swimming will allow the Chao to now swim in water instead of drowning. Increasing that number to 1500 will allow the Chao to do backstrokes. Increasing that number to 1800 will allow the Chao to jump and do flips into the pool. This is prevalent in each stat skill when it comes to running, flying, etc. Now let's go to our next topic. For Chao evolution, I didn't change much, as I like how the original games did the first and gradual evolution concepts. Of course, there will be 3 more evolution lines for the stat of intelligence. I think the gradual evolution for a Chao should raise a stat grade just like the initial evolution does. The same method will be used for making a Chaos Chao, but I feel like a Chaos Chao should raise all stat grades up by 1 since it takes quite a bit of effort and time. There should be a type of Chao higher than a Chaos Chao that takes at least 3 transformations to do, called an Ultra Chaos. Ultra Chaos have 6 different variants, each for the stats running, flying, swimming, stamina, intelligence, and power. However, they will not have hero, neutral, or dark alignments, meaning you can evolve them with any character to the type of evolution you'd like. These Ultra Chaos Chao will have really cool designs, and they raise all stats by 2 tiers. To make an Ultra Chaos Chao, you have to transform them 3 times, give them one of every animal in the game, and then 10 Chaos Drives of the type of evolution you want for them. For stamina, you have to give them each animal, and then 2 of each Chaos Drive. So if you want a swim-type Ultra Chaos Chao, the Chao must transform at least 3 times, then give it every single animal at least once, and then 10 swimming Chaos Drives. Chao will have more information in their profile that can be found at the Chao Doctor. You can see the Chao's date of birth, parents, evolution type, times transformed, name, any previous names it had in the past, age, time spent in school, stats, mood, personality, likes and dislikes, ID, color, awards, height, and weight. A Chao's ID is an 8-letter code that is like the social security of a person. If you look up that Chao's ID code online, you can find that Chao's information, even if it's not yours. A Chao's height and weight differ between evolution types and still vary at a random number range between Chao. These height and weight stats do not affect anything, though, they are just there for fun. Just as before, Chao will have their own personalities, but this time there's many more. Personalities don't affect Chao in competitions, but it does affect their behavior when in the garden. The possible personalities include hyper, quiet, laid back, sassy, lazy, brave, grumpy, quirky, naive, silly, intelligent, sleepy, big eater, crybaby, calm, caring, friendly, cool, and shy. Here's a few examples of these personalities. A sleepy Chao tends to sleep for longer periods, and sleeps more often than other Chao. A silly Chao tends to dance, laugh, and joke with other Chao often. A shy Chao tends to be hesitant to talk to other Chao, and usually spends more time by itself. As is, Chao come in many different color combinations, but I'm adding even more, because variety is the spice of life. Here's some more colors that Chao can be that aren't already in the previous games. Tan, maroon, mustard, diamond, rainbow, pickle green, seafoam green, navy, moon, and peach. There's more official shades of Chao as well. These aren't colors themselves, but they add a special appearance effect to the Chao. For example, a shiny isn't a color in itself, but a Chao can be shiny blue, shiny red, you get the point. More shades include bright, chrome, pearlescent, and matte. I don't think it's fair that more expensive Chao eggs resulted in a higher chance for better stats in the original games, so that won't be the case in this Chao world. The Chao colors don't affect anything on a Chao except its appearance, and the appearance of its offspring. Speaking of offspring, Chao breeding will remain the same as the previous game. I don't feel like there's a need to change anything regarding that. Now let's head to our next category. Since Chao live with each other, I feel like they should have even more types of interactions with each other as time goes by in the garden. Along with the behaviors they had in the past with each other, Chao can now talk to each other, argue with each other, joke with each other, race each other around the garden, etc. They can also use items with each other to play with. For example, 2 Chao can swing a jump rope while a few Chao in the middle try and jump over it several times. Chao should have relationships with each other that can be seen when you pick them up. A Chao's relationship with another Chao can range from arch enemies, don't like each other, acquaintance, friends, and close buddies. This is where Chao personalities can come into play. A Chao with a grumpy personality will likely have more arguments with other Chao, thus making them have more negative relationships than positive. Each time 2 Chao interact with each other, it affects their relationship positively or negatively. In most cases, Chao will get along with each other, but sometimes they won't. When Chao have a strong relationship, you will notice them interacting with one another often in the garden. On the other hand, if they don't like each other, they are more likely to feud and get mad at each other. Just like every Chao had a stat of happiness in the previous games, Chao should also have moods. The moods can be hungry, bored, having fun, talkative, energized, happy, sad, angry, confused, focused, sleepy, relaxed, afraid, or excited. Moods change pretty often, so the player shouldn't worry too much about them, but it just makes the Chao persona feel more realistic. Of course, these moods can change based off what happens in the garden. For example, if a Chao hasn't eaten in a while, it's going to be hungry, and if a Chao is drawing on the ground, it will be focused. The happiness stat can affect a Chao's mood. If a Chao has low happiness due to abuse or many arguments, then it will often have negative moods. But that is rare. A Chao will usually be in a pretty good mood and happiness unless something unusual happens. I added quite a bit of personal and garden toys that Chao can obtain from school, competitions, and the black market. Some garden items include a bicycle, radio, a mini Sega Genesis console, Rocky Horse, TV, beach ball, diving board for the pool, jack-in-the-box, jump rope, chalkboard, chessboard, a playground slide, and swings. You can also move around this equipment in the garden, and remove them as well. Chao also have their own personal items as before. Some new ones include a yo-yo, a skateboard, a remote control Eggman robot, more band instruments, a back scratcher, a mirror, grass fertilizer, a writing journal, a toy phone, a whistle, and a bag of Chao seeds to eat. You know how a Chao's relationship with a certain Sonic character is indicated by its reaction when you pick them up? Well, those relationships will show in a meter bar in the same page as where you see the Chao's relationships with other Chao. Same as before, a Chao will walk towards and hug a character they like, but spit and fuss at one they don't like. As long as you don't abuse the Chao, it will probably like the character you're using. Now let's talk about the new Chao competitions. I know a lot of you were waiting for this part of the video. Chao Race will have similar looking colorful courses as before, but the gameplay will be much more interactive. The courses will have different obstacles that require user interaction for the Chao to get past them. The better the Chao stats in the corresponding obstacle, the faster they will navigate through it. However, the user must control well too. Here's what I mean. Say your Chao is climbing a wall in the race. A Chao's power stat determines how fast they climb in races. However, the user must rotate the analog stick to get the Chao to climb up the wall. The faster the player rotates the analog stick, the faster the Chao will climb. A Chao with a higher power stat will climb faster than a Chao with a lower power stat if both players were to rotate the analog stick at the same rate of speed. Hopefully that makes sense. The reason I added this concept is so that players with powerful Chao won't always beat the lower stat Chao, and the competition can be balanced and competitive. Each stat will come into play in different courses. For the swim stat, obviously the higher the stat, the faster the Chao swims. Fly stat increases their flight distance. Running stat increases their speed. Power increases the speed of climbing, breaking pillars, and hitting fruit off of a tree. Intelligence increases the chances of making the right choice in thought process-based obstacles. The races will be the same, with Duel, Challenge, Hero, Dark, and Beginner races. However, I've added some more options for racing modes that we'll talk about. By defeating the challenge races, the player will unlock the Race Tower, a survival mode for Chao racing. Basically, the player will select a Chao who will compete in infinite amount of races on random tracks to see how far they can get until they lose a race. As the races go on, the CPU Chao opponents get more and more difficult to beat. Each Chao will have their own Race Tower record. I also wrote down 16 new challenge mode races for the Chao, but I don't think you would want to listen to all of that. The other mode will be a mode called Marathon Racing, which is basically where you will race against online opponents instead of computers. There's a Grand Prix mode, where the players will race on 7 tracks and see who scores the most points at the end by ranking high. And there's a Quick Race mode, where it's just one race. The courses will be voted on by the participating players. The Chao will be ranked based off their stats as well. So say a Chao has a stat total of 5,000 when you add all of their stats together, then the game will try and match that Chao up with opponents online whose Chao have similar stats. That way overpowered Chao won't always have to dominate the beginners. There should also be a ranking system, like there was in Mario Kart Wii. Say if you reach a certain amount of wins, then you get a Chaos Emerald icon next to your name. Then more wins gives you a Master Emerald icon. So on so forth. Like Chao Race, Chao Karate will be more interactive for the player when in a match. The Chao will battle in different arena backgrounds, such as a volcano mountain, a snowy summit, the classic karate arena, a forest, and a desert. The stages don't have any gimmicks, just a cool addition. Besides just punching and kicking, Chao will have new attack animations according to their evolution type. These animations don't actually change the power of the attack, but add some extra spice to the battle. The way Chao battle is the same, however the player must press the displayed combination of buttons on the screen quickly in order to initiate an attack. The faster the presses, the faster the Chao moves, however, this is also dependent on the running stat. For example, to start an attack, a player must press these buttons in order, A, B, Y, B, Z. If the Chao has a high running stat, then they will run at the opponent faster. Flying stat is used as stealth like before, which is how often they dodge attacks. Power is of course how much damage the attacks will do. Swim is correlated to defense, which determines how many hits the Chao can take. Intelligence stat determines how many buttons need to be pressed when initiating an attack. And stamina is their fatigue. There will be the same modes, beginner, intermediate, expert, super hard, and there's also a new extreme difficulty as well as online and multiplayer modes. There is a karate tower as well, which will work the same as the race tower did. So I thought about adding a couple of new sports to Chao Sports. One is basketball, which will be called Chao Hoops. Chao will play in teams of 3, and the match will be on a timer of around 3 minutes. The other can be Chao Football, where they can play in a garden-like backyard for fun. You guys can determine if this would be a good idea or not, as it's something I'm not totally sure on, but it's just food for thought I guess. Anyways, let's get to our next topic. For the Chao Gardens, I wanted to add a couple more environments to add space for more Chao in a file. Along with the normal, hero, and dark gardens, I added a beach, a desert, a mountain, a grotto, and a jungle. I already mentioned the new items that would go in the gardens, so I won't cover that again, but each garden will have access to Chao competitions, instead of just the normal garden. Also, the gardens will be dynamic and big, but finding a Chao won't be hard because there will be a locator option to see where the Chao you're looking for is at. Oh, and you can move garden items from one garden to another by the way. The Chao transporter should have some more options on it. Some things you should be able to do is move Chao from one garden to another, move Chao from one memory card to another, rearrange the garden items, find the location of your Chao, say goodbye to a Chao, trade Chao with another online player, view Chao IDs, and pick up and drop off Chao. Not a major thought, but just something that came across my mind. If you've made it to this section of the video, I'm thankful you've had the patience to listen to all of my crazy ideas. This is the last section we will cover, and it is the Chao Center. Similar to the Chao Kindergarten, the Chao Center is where you can access many places that are useful for Chao care. The first one here is the name giver. Either the name giver will give you a random generated name as an idea, or you can name the Chao yourself. Nothing else really to say here. Chao School will actually be really cool here. So Chao can learn how to read books, write, draw, learn Sonic history, mathematics, science, play music, dance, and play sports. The more often a Chao comes to school, the better the grades they get. Bringing your Chao to school will also increase its intelligence stat as well. The longer it stays, the higher it increases. The Chao will also have grades for each class. If you want your Chao to make good grades, keep it in school for a while and raise its intelligence stat. Getting straight A's will also unlock an item in the garden. Like before, Chao will bring to the garden what they've learned in school, and maybe even share their lessons with other Chao. The black market will be a complete upgrade from before. Here you can buy Chao eggs, clothes, food, seeds, and accessories for your Chao. Once you buy a certain item, you can equip it to any of your Chao, that way you don't have to buy 50 of the same item. You can also buy a normal two-tone Chao egg, instead of having to breed for one like before. The Chao eggs available will come in several different colors and shades. The Chao clothes will have t-shirts, pants, shorts, hats, socks, shoes, dresses, jackets, hoodies, swim trunks, sunglasses, watches, necklaces, capes, bandanas, you name it. Also, most items will have a color wheel, so you can buy in any color you want. By the way, you can also remove clothes from your Chao without having to throw them against the wall. Thank goodness. There will be more Chao food options, such as a hexagon fruit, dazzle fruit, the mushroom fruit, which will increase intelligence, and the hero and dark fruits. Some clothes will allow you to draw your own design on it, like you do on Animal Crossing. Occasionally, there will be a sale on certain items for a limited time, or a brand new exclusive item. No item will the player have to pay real money to buy, just the in-game ring count they have. So yeah, fashion won't be a problem at all, and when you beat other Chao in racing and karate, you can do it in style. Remember when I said there would be more ways to increase Chao stats effectively? Well, let me welcome you to the Chao Gym facility. Here Chao can train with equipment to increase their stats. The more time they spend here, the higher the stats increase. The only thing is fatigue. If a Chao spends too much time training, it will get very sleepy, and even grumpy. To increase the swimming stat, there's a pool in the gym for the Chao to practice swimming in. For flying, there's hurdles for the Chao to hop over, and a heavy Alma Chao ragdoll for them to try and hold while flying to see how long they can fly with it. For running, there's a treadmill. For power, there's dumbbells, and there's a punching bag for them to hit. For stamina, the gym provides Chao energy drinks and bars for them to consume. You can also see other online players in this facility as well, and it comes at no cost. If you are offline, however, you can still use the facility. This will be a useful way to train your Chao, just make sure you don't overwork them. The Chao Center will also have the Chao Guider, which is the infamous Alma Chao. He will teach you everything you need to know about raising Chao. From hatching an egg, increasing stats, feeding, breeding, etc. Finally, there will be the Chao Doctor, who will make sure your Chao is happy and healthy. He's the one who will give all of your Chao's personal information, and will give your Chao medicine if it is sick. Just like before, be sure to take each of your Chao to the doctor every now and then. I want to thank all of you for your time in listening to my ideas for a future Chao garden if Sonic Team ever decides to make one. Let me know below in the comments whether you agree or disagree with my ideas, and tell me what ideas you have for the next Chao world. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.